Okay, so first I'm starting off with my 80/80 grit file, and I already put her tips on, but she was going for a coffin shape. So I'm going in at the corner and filing it to the tip of the nail to make it to a coffin. As you can see me doing here, the file is slanted, and then I am pressing hard so that I'm taking away the corner of the nail tip, and then also lining it up with her natural nail. And then I'm just going to be repeating that to all 10 of her fingernails using my 80/80 grit file. And then also I'm going to be going in with a sanding band and blending her natural nail to the tip. And I try to keep the bit flat so that it's not burning her or anything like that. And then I press very lightly and then bring the sanding band down to the fake nail as well. I don't really know why I do that, but you don't really have to, but I still do it anyway. And after that, I'm dusting her nails off. I also use this brush to really get the dust out of the areas. And then I'm going in with the Gelicious pH Bond, and I only do one coat of this. And then I follow it with the No Lift Primer, also only doing one coat of that. And now I'm going in with the Classic Nude by Valentino using C&D's retention monomer. And I'm taking a medium-sized bead and I'm almost applying it to the entire nail, but I'm not. So we're going to be doing a 2-bead method here. And I'm just going to be flattening out my nail, checking my sides, and then taking off the excess acrylic. And then going back in and checking my sides again so that I'm not losing any of my shape. And then I'm going to be going in with my next bead. It's going to be a smaller bead, a little bit wet, and applying it right above where I just put my first bead at. And then I'm tapping it into the cuticle area so that it is very flush and it looks like it's coming out of her nail. And then blending it and wiping around just to make sure that there's no flooding or anything like that. And again, I'm taking a medium bead and going in and applying that right below the cuticle area, and I'm going to be blending it upwards, blending it down, and then also checking my sides to make sure I'm not losing any shape, and patting the nail so that it's flat so that we don't have to do much filing, and then taking off the excess acrylic and checking my shape again, going in with a smaller size bead that's a little wet, tapping it into the cuticle area as you see me doing here to make sure that it's blended nicely. And then I'm just going to be blending it downwards, and you want to make sure you're doing that very lightly so that you're not taking off any of your acrylic. And then also checking the sides to make sure that there's no flooding. Alright, I'm going to show you one more time me picking up a medium sized bead. And then I'm going to be applying it right under that cuticle area. There was a little dry bead stuck in there, so I just had to remove that. But then going back in and patting it so that the nail is flat, bringing it downward, and make sure I'm checking my sides as well so that I'm not losing any shape. And then I'm going to be taking that excess acrylic off, checking my shape again. And then now I'm going to be going in with a small size bead that's a little wet, applying it right above the last bead that I had and blending it upwards into the cuticle area, and then blending it downwards so that it is blended with the last bead. I'm going in with my drill on a high speed with a medium barrel bit that I think is a medium to fine bit, and I'm using that to just smoothen out the nail, go under the nail to make sure that there's no acrylic. And then I am starting at the base, well, not the base, the bottom of the nail at the tip, and then working my way up to the cuticle area. And that way I'm not losing a lot of acrylic, but I am smoothing out the nail. And I found that starting off at the bottom makes it the flattest, makes it the most structured, if that makes sense. But once again, I'm going around the cuticle area, I'm bringing it down, and then checking underneath the nail to make sure that there's no acrylic or anything stuck. And also, you can like rub your finger up against the nail to really feel if there's any spots that you need to file. That way that you're not missing anything, because sometimes it's harder to see but easier to feel. And then afterwards, I'm going in with this cuticle bit, and that's just going to clean up any any acrylic that is stuck in the cuticle area that might cause it to lift. And then also I'm going underneath the nail to make sure that there's no acrylic stuck under the nail, just to really, clean up the nails and to make them look really, really unified. And after I do that, I go in with the 80 grit file once again, and then I'm just using this to basically straighten out the nail tips to make them really crisp, because with the application that we did, there really shouldn't be much hand file work to do, also due to the fact that we were using the drill as well. So then after I do the filing, I'm going in with a sanding band and just really making sure that the nail is well blended with her cuticle area. That way it looks like it's coming out of her nail. And then after I do this, I just buff out the nails, and I'm buffing on top and underneath the nail. That way it is very, very smooth on both ends. She washes her hands. I'm just going in with some alcohol and scrubbing her nails. That way there's no acrylic. And for her first nail, I'm taking some acetone in the color 137 from Honey's Nail Secret into this airbrush machine, and I'm just going to give her a little spray. And it's going to be like the little, I guess they're called like halo nail or something like that. But what I did find at first, as you're going to see here, I didn't put enough polish because it kind of spread it too easily. So if it does spread easily, that means you just need more polish, that there's more acetone than polish. So I went in and added more polish, stirred it back up. And after I stirred it back up, I went back in and did a nice clean spray on her middle finger, and I use that motion that you see there to make it well blended, so it doesn't look like it's just in the center, but it's blended with the entire nail. And then I'm just going in and cleaning up around her areas of her actual finger, and then going in and curing that. And then I'm going in with Koopa's top coat, as you see me doing here, cure that as well. And now I'm going in and putting the number 20 on her fingernail, and I'm just going to be freehanding it because it's really not that hard. You can just do as you please. I kind of tried to make it look a little cool, I guess. And I'm using Beetles white polish. I'm kind of going in really, really slow. That way I don't have to like wipe the design away or anything like that, because starting over is just, I don't like doing that, really, I don't. So I'm just trying to make it really straight as possible the first time around. And I am just going to be adding some lines for details just to make the two look cool, as you're going to see me do right now. I'm going to be putting a line down the middle of the two. I don't know, that's just what I was thinking about doing. Mind you, these nails are freestyle nails, so I was really just doing whatever I pleased, whatever I thought of at the moment. And then for the zero, I kind of made the zero go into like a point because it looked cool and I've seen it before, so that's what I did. And I'm also going to be adding lines for details with the zero as well. But also I go back in to make sure that all my lines are straight and then make them thicker. And then as you see there was a line for detail and then a line for detail right there. And then I'm going back in and just crisping up my lines. And then afterwards, I'm going in on her ring finger and doing a white French tip. And I use the same brush, I'm not gonna lie, for every design on every finger. So I don't know if you want to try something else, but this is the brush that I like to use because it makes everything nice and straight and nice and crisp. And I use it to fill in my French tip and also just to clean it up to make it really, really straight. And I'm also using that Beetles white gel polish for this nail as well. I don't know if I mentioned that already, but it's what I'm using. And then after I do that, I cure her fingernail, and then I'm coming back in with the airbrush machine again with that same color that we used before, and I'm just putting a little airbrush on the tip of her nail, and then I cured that, and now I'm going in with some rhinestone glue and she's a Libra, so I put a Libra gem right in the middle of the nail going up and down, and then I cured that as well. And now going in for her pinky nail, my favorite nail, I'm taking that rhinestone glue once again, and then I'm going to be taking some charms and diamonds and everything different pink with some pearls, and basically just making a mini junk nail for her pinky nail. And I also used some silver as well, just to match the Hello Kitty charm. So silver, different pinks, and pearls for this entire nail. And I kind of just placed them wherever I see fit. There really wasn't no particular way to place them, but once I got them like how I wanted them, I just moved them around a little bit just to really place them in the correct spaces in my perspective. And then after I did that, I cured the nail and then went back in on her pointer finger, applied Koopa's top coat first. And also for her middle finger, I ended up adding some gems just because I felt like it was still a little plain. So I did the 2 different pinks and then a silver one just to incorporate the other gems that I did on her other nail. And going in with that same color that we put inside the airbrush machine, I am creating a pink French tip on her pointer finger. Like I said, using that same exact brush that I used before, and just using that to also blend in the entire tip and make it pink. After I did that, I just went in and cured her nail for 60 seconds. And now using that rhinestone glue, I'm going to be creating a 3D type of design onto her nail. As you can see here, I can't really explain exactly what I'm doing, but you can see what I'm doing and just go off of that, I guess. I cured that, went in on her thumb, and for the thumb, I did another airbrush design. And then now I'm putting her Libra symbol on her thumb. And I just did that with the white gel polish like I used on her pointer finger and everything else. Then after I did that, I just basically top coated everything, make sure that everything was dry, and then this was my final product.
Can't focus on me.